Hey everyone, my name is Arya. Welcome to Project One. In today's video, I want to cover with you guys a CommSec platform, how you can use a CommSec platform to buy and sell shares in the Australian stock market. Now, this video is designed for absolute beginners and it's a step-by-step guide, which I'm going to cover three main points. One is how to create an account on the CommSec platform. Number two is going to be basically how to buy and sell shares on the CommSec platform using both the desktop version and also the mobile version. And number three is I'm going to show you guys how to set up buy stops and sell stops correctly, and also get into a bit more of how you can research for stocks in different markets and also possibly make some good investments. So stay tuned, let's dive right into it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the CommSec website, and that's where you can set up an account. So to set up an account, you go to the Join Now tab and you click on Share Trading. And this is where you can select the type of account where you want to set up. Now, what I like to do is I like to set up a CDIA account, which is basically a Commonwealth Direct Investment account. It basically holds all your shares in that account, and within the 2 or 3 days, it basically gets it into your account or sells it from your account. So you have time to set out the funds in the meantime. So for example, I put an exchange order for $3,000. I've got 2 days for it to settle after execution. Now, these are the rates of it. Basically, anything at $1,000 or below, it takes a $10 brokerage fee. And if it is $1,000 to $10,000 between then it takes a $20 brokerage fees and so on. If you open up a normal trading account, then it's $30 flat rate as well. And then if it's above $10,000, then it charges 0.31. An average trader would most likely go for a CDI, and that's what I recommend to do. So once you've decided on what type of account, just click on Get Started and click on Join Now. And once you've clicked on Join Now, what it'll do is it'll take you to a form where you fill up. It's pretty standard form, and it does tell you to set up a Commonwealth account generally. So if you do not have one, then I do encourage to make one, because that's going to make it a lot easier. And it's basically filling up this form. So are you already a CommSec customer? No, I'm not. And then do you have a Commonwealth account? Yes, I do. So then I click on yes, and I log into my NetBank account. If I don't, then I click on no, and it'll take me to the procedure of creating a NetBank account. So once you filled up all the steps, you will get an email with your CommSec ID, and you basically go back to your CommSec homepage, and you enter in your client ID along with the password which you've set up, and then you'll be taken into the homepage of your CommSec account. Once you're in your CommSec account, which you've logged in, it will look something like this. So this is the homepage of your account, and then you've got view holdings, watch list, recommendations, and manage order, and you've got a bunch of details also along the way. So you've got a bunch of tabs on the top, and this is the tabs which you want to focus on. The main thing to buy and sell shares is the trading tab. So that's what we're going to go into. The trading tab is where you can execute orders. You can buy shares or you can sell shares. So you choose a type of share. So in this case, I want to buy more shares. So I click on buy, and then you type in the code which you want to buy. So for example, BTH is a code which I want to buy. So I put that in, and then it brings up all the different values on the right-hand side for me. These values will help you make a better decision. So what it does is there is the bid and the offer and what it last executed on. And then there's the market depth, which is the amount of buyers and sellers. And here you can see the volume which is being traded at. So I can clearly see over here that the sellers are willing to sell it for 0.765, and the buyers, it's 0.755. So what I want to do is probably I want to put if I want this order to execute immediately, then I probably go for at market, which is basically I want this to execute at whatever the market it is. So my order will get executed, but it will most likely get executed on a higher note. So what I would like to do is most likely set up a price limit. Before we get into that, it's very important to set up the quantity or the value. Usually I like to go by value. So for example, I'm investing $2,000. You can also go quantity. So what I do is I put in the value, and then I put in the price limit. So for example, what price I wanted to trade at. So I would want this to execute at 750. So if at any given moment it trades at 750, it'll execute my order. And basically how it works is FIFO order, which means first in, first out. So if I put in 750, whoever who put in 750, so that volume for 36,000 will first get executed, and then on top of that will my 2,000 get executed after that. Now you've got the expiry as well over here. This is where you can set up to when is my offer good. So I want this to last for a whole month. That's the maximum you can go, or you can choose maybe a few days or a week, or you can just choose good for today or good for the day. So this is basically only for today. If it drops on 0.75, or it'll execute my order. Otherwise, order will get canceled. And once you're happy with it, it says you click on proceed, and it says also here what are the different values and what is your total as well. Now you've got also manage orders. This is where you can basically manage your different orders. You've got your outstanding orders. So this is like if you placed any order, it shows it over here. And this is where you can also cancel your orders and stuff like that. And then here it shows you canceled orders and executed orders as well. And then next thing which I want to talk to you all about is how to even sell the shares. So let's say I bought some BTH shares and now I want to sell them. So same thing, I choose sell and then I go with the code BTH, and then it tells me how many units I have available. In this instance, I have 5,493 units. So then I can choose how many quantities or how many at value I want to sell. So I want to go maybe, let's say 3,000 units I want to sell, and then I can choose the price as well, what I want to sell it at. So I can go 8.50, for example. So if it goes at 8.50, that's when it's going to execute my order. And let's say I want this to be valid for the next week because I don't know, it's a very volatile market right now, so I want to sell it at that particular thing. Then you can choose what settlement type, CHESS or sponsored or issuer sponsored. Usually when you buy shares through CommSec, it will get issued as CHESS sponsored. That's basically a holding which holds all your share certificates. Issuer is when the shares are held by the company directly. So in this case, because you bought it through CommSec, it will be CHESS sponsored. So always just choose CHESS sponsored. Unless it's issue sponsored, then you will have an SRN number and you put the SRN number over there. Once you've entered all the details, it'll tell you also the estimate, and then you click on proceed, and that will execute your sell order once it's hit the price limit. And next thing I want to talk to you all about is buy share pack. So this is basically packs which are designed for early on investors who are new to the stock market. So what you can do is you can choose the different types of investment strategies that you want. So for example, capital growth, income, market leaders, tax effective income. So for example, I want to go with market leaders. So then what it'll do is I put in the investment amount as well. So in this example, you can choose between 4,000 to 25,000. That is the limit which you can use. So I want to go with $5,000. And it will always be at market. So then what I'll do is I'll bring a bunch of good market leader stocks for me, which I can basically add to my portfolio. The whole idea of this is to diversify your portfolio, and it buys in bulk, distributing the shares and for each one of them. And then once you click on proceed, this will execute your order and will purchase each one of these individually and add them to your portfolio. Then you can basically deal with them on an individual level. So for example, you want to sell them, you can sell them on an individual level, or if you want to buy more, you can buy more as well, and so forth. This is a very good way for beginners to get into the stock market, and it's very safe because most of these stocks will be dividend based as well. So you will get some dividends through the time as well. The next thing which I want to talk to you guys about is the conditional offers tab. That's located over here under the trading tab. Now this is where you can set up your buy stops and sell stops. So you're setting up based for a certain stock, you're setting up a trigger that basically based on this price and this certain volume, execute my order. This is a great way for you to be just set up your orders and not worry too much about daily checking your CommSec account, because you basically set it up, and then if it reaches that certain trigger price, or if it reaches below that trigger point, it will start executing the order. So what type of conditional orders can you place? So there's certain trigger types which you can place. There's falling selling, there's rising buy, there's falling buy, then there's rising sell, trailing buy, and trailing sell. So let's say I want to go with falling selling or falling sell. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for example, let's say I want to sell my BTH stock. So I'm going to put that in there. And then what I can do is I can set up a trigger price. So what this trigger price is, basically, it's your limit order will be placed onto the market when the last traded price passes or equals to your trigger price. So let's say currently I bought my shares at 0.5, or that's 50 cents basically, and right now it's sitting at 0.755. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set basically 0.650 as a trigger price. So when it comes at 0.650 or below that is when it will execute my sell order. So this is a good way for you to keep your investment secure. And usually what I like to do is I want to set up depends on the type of stock and how volatile it is. I want to set a percentage of falling sell based on that. So this way I keep my assets secure. Now, you can also choose the active between and trigger volume, so make it more precise if you want to. And then what you do is you put in your quantity. So for example, I can choose a certain limit I want to sell, or maybe even all. In this case, let's go with 3,000. And then what you do is you set up your price limit. Price limit should be lower than the trigger price, so in this case I'll go with 630, and that's what it is. And then you can choose expiry, default expiry, good for the day. I'll just go with default expiry and review. And then whenever this let's say BTH is not doing well, probably because of something which a bad news or something, and it's fallen below that 650 mark, it's going to execute it. So this way I do still make a profit and get out of the share. This is a very good ways for you to manage stocks which you basically purchased or want to purchase. Same thing is with a rising buy or a falling buy, and vice versa as well. So for example, let's say I want to go with a falling buy. So if a share price gets a limit order is placed in the market when the stock trades at or below the trigger price. So if there is sufficient demand, the stock will be bought at no more than the price limit. So it's basically the same, but for the buying type. And this is a good way for you to purchase stocks as well. Now, this is where you will essentially buy and trade stocks. And once you purchase your stocks and you want to maintain your portfolio, you go to the portfolio tab, and that is where all your stocks sit. And you can check if it's gone up, if it's gone down, how much percentage, what was your original price of sale. You can all do that in the portfolio tab. And then you've got your watch lists. That's the next bit. This is where you can add items to your watch list, and you can essentially see what type of items you can keep a close eye on, what type of stocks you can keep a close eye on, and see how they're performing and put a buy or a sell action based on that. And you can create multiple watch lists, and you can add and edit items into there. So if you want to add an item, for example, let's say I want to add in X1ST, for example. I just go like that, I click on that and click on add. I've already added this in there, so I don't need to click on add again, but essentially I could add that in there. So you just look up the code and you add them in there, and it'll show up in there. And similar to that, the next thing is you've got quotes and research. So this is a great tool for you to be researching about different stocks. So you've got markets, and then you've got sectors, and then you've got quotes and trading ideas. So what I like to typically do is I want to go to the sector section, and then you've got different sectors along the way. So I like to diversify my portfolio into different sectors. Mainly, however, my portfolio consists of information technology stocks. So I go to information technology, and then here you can view large cap and small cap. So large cap is such as Xero, Afterpay, and Computershare, and other ones like that. And then you got medium cap, which are Apen or Altium or different ones in there, and then you've got small cap, and then you can research more about them. So you can click on it and you can get basically more information and more data about that stock, such as here. You can get the summary, announcements, charts, dividends, recommendations, etc. What it went, what was the bid offer volume, what's the value at currently, what was the previous close, what is the lowest they've been, and what is the highest they've been for the day. And also you can see the 52-week high and 52-week low, and that's great for day traders or short-term buyers to basically assess a stock and see what it's doing and what it's performing at. And you've also got charts along the way where you can see at any given point of day how it's been performing generally, and along with that the volume as well. So this is how you can basically assess a stock and see what is happening with that stock before you purchase that individual stock. You've also got other tools like recommendations. This is basically giving you recommendations based on what type of market, like Goldman Sachs. You got Morningstar, and you've got other ones. So it tells you like, okay, if it's worth the buy, or if it's calling like, what is the sentiment, like, does it say neutral, buy, or sell? And I hope this was informative around the desktop version. Now what we're going to dive in is actually the app version of the CommSec and show you how to use the app version as well. So let's get into it. This is the CommSec app. Now, what you really need to do is you need to go into based on your mobile phone that you have. If you have an Android phone, then you go to the Play Store. If you have a Apple or iOS device, then you go to the App Store and then you search for CommSec and you download the CommSec app. Once you download the CommSec, you open it up first time and then you enter your client ID and your password and it asks you to set up a PIN. Since I'm returning back to the app, I've already set up all that stuff, so I'm just entering my PIN. And once I've entered that PIN, it'll take me to this page. The first thing it'll take me is to my watch list. So this is where I can add items to my watch list, and it's pretty easy to do so. It's got its code on the left hand side, and then it's got like the last change, the change percentage, the bid, and then offer, open, high, low, and volume. And the good thing is all this loads dynamically, so when there is any change in this value, it will show up automatically. But if you want to refresh, you can always refresh it as well. And you can also check on your multiple watch lists if you have multiple watch lists. So it's a good idea to have multiple watch lists if you're looking at different sectors. So for example, like if you're looking for information technology sector and then you're looking for, let's say, mining sector or different sectors, you can add them in there and create your watch list. I just mainly deal with tech stocks, so I just have one watch list in there. You can add more watch items to your watch list by clicking on the plus, and then you can basically go down your list of already searched stocks, or you can enter a new stock item in there and basically bring it up and then enter that in there. So and then what it does is once you've done that, it adds it at the bottom of the list. And that's your watch list, and then you can always click on there and rename and delete or create the new watch list. And then when you click over here, you've got your portfolio, you've got your newsfeed, you've got your trade, you've got your get quote, and etc. So the trade option is basically where you can buy and sell your stock. So and similar like desktop version, you enter your code in and your purchase price and quantity, etc. And then you buy the stock or you can sell the stock. And with the watch list, one good thing is when you click into it, it'll give you more in-depth analysis. So for example, the depth of the market, so how many buyers versus sellers at the bottom of it, and what is the bids and the offers, the course of sale as well. Then you got a chart. So this is where you can see your charts. So for example, how it's performing, you can set the duration as well. For example, I want to check last 5 years. I can click on that as well and check 5 years. You can also check based on the market. So for example, information technology market, how it's performing with that. So you can see that, and generally you got a bunch of charts over here. You've got even the volume at the bottom, which tells you what the volume was at the trade. Then you got your announcement. This is very important set part, and this is what I tend to follow when I'm buying or when I am deciding to sell my stock. So announcements is basically a section which keeps you up to date on what announcements the company makes. So for example, the quarterly report, director's change of notice, or generally presentations and stuff like that, or if they have a new contract, they basically place it in the announcement section. The same thing can be found in the desktop version as well. When you click into the stock, you'll find an announcements tab. You can just click in there and you can download the PDFs. So then you got the news. This is basically what all news they published, and also you got recommendations. So for example, if it's undervalued, fairly priced, or if it's overvalued, it'll put the recommendations. And then you got the details as well. So for example, trades, value, previous closes, 52-week close and high and lows, and then you've got like the market cap and stuff like that, which is a great way for you to have indication of how the stock is performing on a day-to-day basis. And once you're in there, you can also check out your portfolio. This is where you can basically see what type of stocks you're dealing with and how the stocks which you purchase, what type of performance it's giving you. For example, if it's giving you a profit, if it's giving you a loss, and how many units you have, and etc. And you have your CDI account in there as well, which gives you more information on how much is in your CDIA as well. So another cool thing about the app is the newsfeed. This basically tells you how all the stocks that are on your watch list or you have purchased, it tells you how it's performing on an average basis as well. Like for example, trading volume and daily averages and 50-day average, or stuff like that. And it's a pretty good thing for you to keep an eye on and basically see how it's performing overall, the different stocks. It's just basically a news feed. And end of the day, if you've made an order, you'll come in the orders tab, and here's your outstanding, executed, and canceled. So if you have made an order and it hasn't gone through yet, you can always go to outstanding and you can click on cancel, and that will cancel your currently executed outstanding order. However, once it's executed and canceled, it'll put it over there and it'll put a history of up to 30 days. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and a like on YouTube, and please subscribe to my channel where I'll be posting a lot more videos like this and about the ASX stock markets, what stocks to buy, and also talk about personal development and growth, along with some useful tips on the property market and investment strategies as well. So please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.